Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jodo Cast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode... What episode is it? 74! There we go. That's the number that we're on. My name is Evan Lewis. Lame number? What's wrong with 74?
Well, as far as numbers go, it's not an exciting number. Like, if you were number 74 on a sports team, you'd be like, eh.
Until you're awesome, until it's the best. Then everyone's like, I want to get number potential. 74, Mom. We're
going to make 74 great, aren't we?
Yeah, that's going to be on my JodoCast jersey. And it's going to say Evan Lewis on the back. And I've got
Your
Leo
full name?
Andre. Yes, my full name. Because you know what? Some players need that because there's a lot of Lewises on a team, so it's got to be the full name. Leo Andre, what's your number?
37.
That's right, it is. I don't know why. Joe Latovsky, what's your number? 99. 88. 77.
18, 17.
Now, see, I'm not sure the numbers go quite that high on jerseys. Apparently on our jerseys, they do. They go out super high. Yeah, so let's... I don't know why there was that big-ass pause, but let's just keep going. We got a new patron. Woohoo! Another best human being ever. Every patron is the best human being since the last one. So let's give a big old JodoCast thank you to Nick Olmstead. You are officially, as of today, awesome. So thank you so much for joining the awesomest people. We couldn't do it without you or any of the other patrons. They are all the best. We appreciate them so incredibly much. And if you want to get this much love and attention from us on a semi-weekly basis, since we missed a week last week, you can do so over at patreon.com/thejodocast, and you can see how you can help us and how we can say thank you to you in so many special ways. That sounded creepy, but I promise you it's not.
Thank you.
Ooh. If you want to get Joe to record a message on your answering machine or voicemail, you can call in. We should get Brian Huffbeck on here to do Wait, the Force will tell me. But that's a thing from a long time ago. But if you want to find other ways that you can join in the JodoCast fun, you can do so by getting some merch from our store, which you can find over at jodocast.com. And while you're there, you can fill out a feedback survey. Let us know what you love, what you hate. And then also, the final thing that we want to talk about is our Discord server. It is the coolest place in a galaxy far, far away. And you should come hang out with us and talk about not just Star Wars games, but all kinds of things too. And wherever you download us, listen to us, please leave a review, a rating, a comment, whatever you got to do to help us get out there and let the world know that we have awoken. Man, these aren't coming off good tonight, but I'm trying my best, folks. I promise. I am really, really trying. I am not phoning this in. This is just the best that I have, and that's what makes it even more sad. But we'll get going with what we've been playing. And I think the other folks, other than myself, have been playing a lot more cooler things than I have been, which we'll be hearing about nonstop for like the next month, I'm sure. So, Joe, what you got?
Battlefront 2. Still been poking at that. Yep. And then I got in like a sort of a Legion demo. I was at the mall with my wife, and we're like, we're going to go in and try this, but we didn't have a lot of time, so we set up all the units. Basically, they were all close enough to shoot at each other anyways in a circle. And
yeah, it looks like you threw all the units into Thunderdome.
That was kind of apparently like the sheet that they got for the demo kit was like, this is how to get people like into it fast. So we just set up that scenario and played one round, and I guess it was fun. I mean, maneuvering really was hardly a factor. It's just kind of rolling dice, but
yeah, like I got to play the demo, which if people would already know that if they watched me on the live stream. Otherwise, it should be on our YouTube channel by the time this episode's out.
Yep.
But I think it's towards like in the last like 2 rounds, we were kind of both of us in position and got to the point where all we were really doing was shooting and not really maneuvering. And by then at that point, the game was a lot less interesting when you're not actually moving your troops around, which is...
I suppose you weren't playing with any objectives, or were you?
No, we didn't. We didn't have any objectives. We didn't have any terrain pieces other than those little barricades, which, I mean, they grant cover, but you can't use them to like block line of sight or do any stuff like that. So there was really no like real interesting maneuvering stuff going on. So I'm hoping tomorrow. I think I'm going to just leave work early because it's my birthday.
Woohoo!
And yeah, so and Fridays are usually pretty slow at work, so I think I can get away with just ducking out early. And I might see if I can get in a demo at one of the game shops in town. Actually built a board for for their demo, and they've got like a Tatooine board with a bunch of terrain and junk and buildings and stuff on it. And try playing a game with like the full set of rules rather than just like the pared down demo ones where all you have is the barricades and you don't really worry about terrain and you don't worry about suppression and all that other stuff.
But at least when you get to that second half of the game, towards the end game, you're not just like chasing each other around the field like some games of X-Wing get to be, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it also partially depends on the mission too that you get, because I think one of the objectives is where you actually collect the objective token and have it with you. And so I believe that I think if that unit dies, they drop the token. I haven't played that scenario, so I haven't looked at it very much, so I could be totally off base here, but I could see somebody chasing around there. But I mean, with this, you're limited to only 6 rounds, so you're not ever really going to be in a situation like X-Wing where you're just, one guy is hiding and like dodging around while you just chase after him trying to finish off that one last dude.
Yeah. I'm sure that was a big design consideration. How do you not let this turn into a huge slog?
Yeah. Well, I believe Armada has round limits also, does it not?
Oh, I don't know. Armada people, where are you?
Sorry,
hop
what
in
was the
chat
question?
right now.
Armada, do you remember? Does it have round limits or?
Yeah, it's like 2.5 hours.
No, not time.
Something like that. Oh, I mean, in the game?
Totally not. Yeah.
Game rounds.
Oh, 6. Yeah, it is 6.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. Magic number. Well, cool. I'd say I'm looking forward to hearing all about it, but I won't have any choice over the next few weeks, I think. Not that I'm complaining. I had really actually tried to go out and play Destiny. I had my brand new decks put together that probably aren't optimal, but I tried to go find a regularly occurring Saturday event.
Did you get your 5 Jawa deck put together?
No, that would require me spending more money than I'm willing to spend on it right now. No, but I did make a E-Boba and Django deck, which seemed like it might be, it's pure, face punchy. There's not a whole lot else going on besides that, but I mean, that seems pretty fun. And I was looking forward to, having it lose spectacularly, but I didn't even get to do that. Because the event didn't fire, yeah. So I tried, folks. I honestly tried. But I've gotten to play, or at least have my hands in, Star Wars RPG a lot more lately. Our last episode was an RPG release, so that's pretty awesome. Finally getting to do more with that. And I'm going to be running a local game with people from my D&D group. So got Christian, one of our patrons, and also the chief world builder of Encounter Time, making Star Wars characters, and that was a lot of fun, getting to teach people how to use the system and how the dice work. And I mean, it's a little odd using those dice after you've just been doing D20 and percentile for so long. So looking forward to that. I'm much more looking forward to more RPG stuff. and also wanting to do some Imperial Assault. And I guess that's what they call a segue. In the business. That's what we call
Ayo.
a segue.
And it's not a segue unless we spend a lot of time mentioning how it was a segue.
Of course. In fact, I think we should have a contest. The listeners should put together a segue theme song. I'm not sure what that would sound like. For some reason, I think it's like some 70s intermission tune. Exactly, like that. Or like some sort of car chase in San Francisco music. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Either one of those. So get on that, listeners. So we are going to talk about Imperial Assault tonight. And it's honestly a thing that's been on the back of my mind for a while. And I'm getting more and more interested in Imperial Assault, I think because of all the Legion talk. But IA is much more the type of...
Sorry, it's just funny that IA is Legion's what making you want to play Imperial Assault. I don't know why that's funny.
It is. I agree. I totally agree that it is. Because I'm like, oh, look, this game that people aren't really paying attention to anymore, now I'm going to get into it.
Just your hipster tendencies?
Yes, I am quite the hipster, but I'm like, I like it now that it's not cool anymore. It's reverse hipster.
Barely cool.
But, it's much more my kind of miniatures game. It's like, here's the pieces for the map, here's the characters all in a box, and go. And I dig that. There's more story elements. There may be story elements in the Legion campaign, but we don't know yet, but we'll find out soon. But I also like the idea of trying to put some more story behind these heroes, the unique heroes, the original characters in Imperial Assault. And that's what we're going to do tonight. Is this kind of a different episode, kind of a weird main topic, but we're going to build stories, short ones, I promise, for these original characters in Imperial Assault.
Which I've just been dying to know more about them, and now we're going to make up more about them.
Because since Fantasy Flight doesn't want to tell us.
Ever since I started playing Imperial Assault, I was like, these characters deserve to be in their own comic. Because they had a cool art style, they all looked really unique and interesting. So...
Even Fen?
We'll give him personality, damn it. Even if it kills him.
He's gonna... Oh, we'll get to him, okay. And something I've been trying to start a Edge of the Empire campaign. We've only had one session, scheduling has been weird, but I've been planning on incorporating the Imperial Assault original characters into that campaign because they're cool characters, and it is sort of like having a pre-made character because you know what they look like, you have an idea. So this could be a tool for you if we put backstories to these faces. You can use these characters to populate your role-playing games if you want.
And if you like using miniatures with the Star Wars RPG, even though the system's not built for it, you totally could, and it would be pretty sweet.
They don't even have to be your NPCs. You can just use them as your player characters.
Boom. Done. You're welcome. The value of your individual games just rose tenfold, courtesy of the
Right.
JodoCast. And most of these characters, the heroes at least, are the ones that come in the big box. The heroes or the allies rather, that come in the expansions.
Right. All of the Imperial Assault original hero characters come in the boxed expansions. The original villain characters come in... I mean, they're present in the campaigns, but only as little tokens. But the miniatures for those guys come in separate expansions.
And I suppose if we wanted...
Because alongside...
I was going to say if we wanted to do...
I was just saying along...
stories for guys like Rebel Saboteur or... I don't know...
That's his first and last name. You could say I was born for this.
Hey, I had an NPC in one of my first D&D sessions whose name was Farmer John. First name Farmer, last name John. That adventure also featured exploding cow butts, but I digress.
Only their butts exploded?
Yep, only the butts. It was alien abduction in D&D. So there's that. Take it for what you will. So we'll give a little brief description of each of these characters. We're going to cover the main heroes of the box set. Obviously, starting with the main box.
The core.
And then also the primary villain of that campaign, because I guess I wasn't super aware that each of the big box expansions has like a primary villain that is not like Darth Vader or the Emperor or Maul or anything like that.
Yeah. Except, I don't think Heart of the Empire has an original villain. I haven't played that one yet, but I think it's just Palpatine and Maul for that one. I'm pretty sure that one didn't come with an original villain in the story.
Okay, well, we'll certainly find out when we get to that point. We've got a while. Maybe we can make one up in the interim. So let's kick it off with Diala Pasil? How do you say it?
I say Diala.
We just say Diala.
Say her last
Great.
name. Probably Pasil.
Sure.
Pasil.
So what we can tell from her card, she is clearly a Twi'lek female. Her
nice purple pink skin.
Yeah. Her subtitle is Haunted Exile. So if they make a Destiny card for her, I would certainly assume that her subtitle would be Haunted Exile. And as such, she is a Jedi that probably didn't finish her training according to her mission.
So each of these characters do have a side mission, and that's about really all their backstory that the game gives us. In her side mission, you go to Yavin 4, she fights some like visions, and at the end she finds the lightsaber of her old master, Shu Yen, who died during Order 66. So that's all we know. So I guess we can build her story from there, right?
Yes.
She had a master named Shu Yen. She doesn't actually use a lightsaber in the campaign unless you beat this mission. Otherwise, she uses a plasteel staff.
Long before Rey was, right?
Yeah. This game also had a plucky girl named Jin long before Rogue One.
Right. All right. So, apparently, Yavin 4 was where Master Shu Yen died. So clearly, there must have been a Republic mission or military campaign on Yavin 4, and there is some evil force calling out to Diala. Actually, you know what? Should I read the card? You think that's worthwhile?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you can. It depends on how much of this backstory do you want to base around this mission. Because I'm thinking, before this mission, they're in the Clone Wars. Her master dies somehow. I don't like to think that the Clone Wars went to Yavin, although I think they did in the Gendy cartoon, didn't they?
That is a good
Anakin
question.
fought Ventress there. I don't remember why they were there.
Because Ventress said, "Hey,
I almost
chase
feel
me."
like this.
That's essentially it.
I almost feel like the Shu Yen guy might have gone there for his own reasons without telling even Diala, and then he just never returned. And that was right around the time the war ended, and so she wasn't able to investigate because the Jedi Order fell apart, and so she spent all of this time in exile, wondering what happened to her master.
Okay, so it's not going to be like a straight up Caleb Doom situation where it's like, oh, my master got killed by the stormtroopers, and now I ran away.
Right, like maybe Shu Yen is like, all right, Diala, stay put here wherever we are. Probably not on Coruscant because that would mean she might die. I'll be right back, and then he leaves and never comes back. And obviously he went to Yavin to search for something that he thought was really important.
But Diala doesn't know that. She's just rolling around the galaxy until she gets called to Yavin 4.
Right.
Oh, and
obviously by this point she's joined up with the rebellion.
And it's worth mentioning that at this point in the game production, there was a very definitive point in time, right, for this campaign. Oh
yeah, for the first few campaigns they had time settings, and this one takes place after A New Hope. I'm pretty sure it was like shortly after the destruction of the Death Star.
Yeah, I think most of the products they at least tried initially to fit into that time frame. Like I know Edge of the Empire.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of an odd time to go back to Yavin, but I guess maybe she went back after the Empire was like, nothing here, they all left.
Yeah, I mean, if they just blew the crap out of the base with their regular fleet like they do on whatever the hell that planet's name was at the end of TFA, the start of TLJ. I don't remember right now.
Dakar?
There you go. That's the one. All right.
I almost feel like I'm just judging this off the Galactic Assault scenario in Battlefront 2. The Empire is down, rushing the temple to try and grab some information before the rebels can wipe their computers. After, like, most of the rebels have fled, there's some left behind trying to wipe the computers. But that's neither here nor there.
Yep.
Are we satisfied with Diallo's story, or do we need to flesh it out more?
No, I think that's pretty good. I think that gives people a good starting point if they want to incorporate her into maybe some Force and Destiny games, or if they just want to write some fan fiction. I think that's more than enough. Next up is Fen Cygnus, who is a human male. His subtitle is Hardened Veteran. And if he is like anything, he is like the Assault class from Battlefront 2. So he's just a straight-up regular trooper guy.
But he's got a cool scarf.
He does. Scarves make the man.
And he was named Fen long before Rebels named a Mandalorian Fen.
It's true. Also true.
This game has a long tradition of naming people things before canon characters got named those things.
And actually, he looks kind of boring because he is the Star Wars equivalent of a male human fighter. I mean, he's just a dude with a helmet and like goggles/sunglasses and an assault rifle.
He's got good trigger discipline.
He does, actually. He uses his safety correctly, as they would have said in Black Hawk Down. This is my safety. And he's pointing at the ground, so good for him. Oh yeah, is he on the? I think he's on the cover, isn't he? Of the first.
He is.
Okay, Age of Rebellion adventure.
I think. Oh yeah, that he's on the cover of the Imperial Assault core set.
Oh yeah, him and Jin and Diallo.
So
there you go. Vader. You already know who we're talking about. Go look at a picture.
I mean, I guess now that we mention it, he is boring. He just looked like he always struck me as someone who might take a leadership position in this weird little rebel group that you play through in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, and actually, he's got a pretty baked-in history, and it's more his present that is catching up to him. He was at one of the first and earliest battles of the Empire and the Rebellion on Onderon, home of Saw Gerrera. And apparently they were able to, according to this, free Onderon relatively early on.
We're not sure if that's canon or not.
Yeah, may not be.
Obviously this... Well, at the very least, we can assume he was fighting the Empire on Onderon. It's a lot of ons.
Yeah, on Onderon. And he gets called back to keep Onderon safe as the Empire seeks revenge against the insurgent world. So not a lot of mystery, at least if we go by his mission card.
So, well, we assume he grew up on Onderon. He possibly hooked up with Saw Gerrera. I think he looks like the kind of guy who would, after spending enough time with Saw and his ways, would be like, I think I'm going to go hang out with the Rebel Alliance, and I get why they don't like you that much.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be like, you know what, you keep doing your thing, but I can't do that. I'm too
decent. Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, he could even have been like a right-hand man, a disciple.
What about this? He had a family on Onderon, and actions by Saw Gerrera led to their death. Like, it was Saw had a great victory against the Empire, like, really good victory for the status of the planet, but the methods were so that Fenn's family died, and he believed that could have been easily avoided if Saw wasn't so fanatical. So he left.
Boy, that's a good one. He just became very not boring.
And he has a sads in his heart.
Oh. Well, I don't think there's a single picture of him looking happy. All the pictures of him are, like, super grimacing. All right, man. Well, that's a good one. I like that one a lot. Next up is Garkon, who I almost invariably wind up playing whenever I'm just a player guy here. And as you can tell by his name, he is a Wookiee. I guess we're just assuming it's a he?
It's a he.
Okay. Confirmed. Oh, it says to honor his brother's death. Okay. Well, you can't always tell. You gotta shave him down. Never mind.
I can tell.
So his mission is actually on Bakura, which I don't know if that is canon yet or not. They certainly had a truce there back in the Legends days, but I don't know if Bakura has come back yet in canon. But it certainly is here.
And just to be clear, again, things that happen in Fantasy Fight published things, even though they're approved by Lucasfilm licensing, doesn't make them canon. I feel like our listeners are smart enough to know that, but I've in the past run into people who thought because something was published by Fantasy Flight, that made it canon.
Really?
They're in the... I mean, it all has to be approved by licensing, so especially the newer RPG source books, they're still not officially canon, but they're, not super legendsy, but you know what I mean. They're not officially canon. I don't know if... Just as I open up the Wookiee tab for Bakura, it's listed as canon, but the only canon appearance is in Star Wars The Force Awakens beginner game by Fantasy Flight Games. So either I'm completely wrong, or whoever made this Wikipedia entry is completely wrong. And I'm pretty sure something being published by Fantasy Flight does not make it canon.
Yeah, I'm going to say no, and I think FFG would also say no.
Right. They're in the kind of the gray area, like the Freemaker adventures, where it's obviously not canon, but obviously not, like, just legends. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, maybe the Freemaker Adventures is more obviously not canon than the role-playing games books, but... Anyways, moving on.
All of our stories are canon.
Yes, these are canon. I called up Pablo the other day. I was like, we're going to make up some stories for these guys. Can it be canon? He's like, yeah, JodoCast is canon. The podcast JodoCast is canon. The character JodoCast is still Legends.
And we're going to have a weekly YouTube feature that has Pablo in it after every episode of JodoCast. And it'll be Imperial Assault Recon. Never mind. That joke fell super flat. I tried really hard. I'm trying so hard, people. Just stay with me.
I need to rip some footage of him saying, by the way, none of this is canon, to put after YouTube videos.
Perfect.
There's at least a couple clips of him saying that out there.
You should have that after... Actually, you know what? We're talking about Imperial Assault, but we didn't mention your awesome video that just got released.
Yeah, I feel good plugging that because I'm desperate for people to watch it and justify the amount of time I've sunk into that thing.
Okay. So what's special about it?
It's the Imperial Assault app came out. Oh, we did lose Leo, huh?
We did.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Okay. The Imperial Assault app came out, and I finally got around to playing it, so I did a recording of myself playing it, much like I do the skirmish videos I make, but by myself, and recording the app as well. And then after I finished and I was sitting down to put it together, I noticed I did not actually record the audio of me. I mean, it was in my camera, but that doesn't have a good microphone. So I decided rather than go forward with the bad audio, I would just narrate over the whole thing, and that turned into me doing voices for all the characters and stuff. And it was a lot of work, but people seem to be enjoying it. So if you want more Imperial Assault and funny stuff, it made me laugh while I was making it.
Wolverine is in Star Wars now. Official canon.
Well, a guy who likes to cosplay as Wolverine.
So when we get to his character, we're going to have to use that image.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. Well, we didn't talk about Garkon too much. So, Wookiee male, and his mission, like we said, is
Wookiee mail? Like electronic?
Yes, Wookiee mail. Wow.
Oh Chewbacca sends his letters.
All right, so what happens on Bakura is that there's an Imperial ambush, and Garkon's brother, Jirit, with two R's and two T's. So actually, there's a total of 2 I's, 2 R's, 2 T's, but only 1 J. He gets killed. And in the same battle, another Wookiee, to whom Jirit swore a life debt, was captured. So we got 3 Wookiees here. We got Garkon, we got Jirit, and another dude walk into a bar.
Okay.
Yes.
One of them gets gunned down.
And then one of them gets captured. The unnamed one, at least in the mission card, it's unnamed.
And then, so Garkon has to, adopt that life debt? Or
yes.
at least, okay.
Or at least, it says honor his brother's debt. So, yes, so it falls to Garkon.
Maybe his brother's debt was just, I promise to not let you get captured, and so as long as Garkon can free him, the debt is satisfied.
So it was a capture debt, not a life debt.
Or it was like a get-out-of-jail semi-free debt, where it's like, my obligation to you is to spring you from jail once.
Just one time. None of this 3 strike stuff, just one strike. All right, so we got Garkon, we got his brother. So I guess the real question that I would ask is, Jirit and this other dude, Jirit swore a life debt to other guy.
Maybe the other guy is... who could the other guy be? I mean, the only, I don't want it to be Chewbacca, that's too small-worldy.
Yeah.
I don't know if Black Chrysanthemum would fit in that. He doesn't seem like the guy who has friends.
No.
Lumpy?
Are there any other
Does it
Wookiees?
mention that the other guy is a Wookiee?
Another Wookiee to whom Jirit swore a life
Oh,
debt.
okay. I was going to say, then it could be the one dude from the holiday special who sells them trinkets.
Okay, so listeners, it's your job, unless it's, it might be mentioned in the campaign book. I suppose I could look there. Should I look? Let's find out.
Let's bring back some Legends spice and put the suffix baka behind any word to name a Wookiee. So how about
Well, I found the name, but we can add Baka to it if we want.
Okay, what's his name?
Now it's Shortatha.
Shortatha?
So Shortatha Baka.
Shortatha Baka. Okay, well, I think we can assume that Garkon grew up on Kashyyyk playing Wookiee games with his brother and Charthabaka, who was his brother's best friend. Garkon was kind of always the third wheel, but they were, nice, so they let him play along. And then Garkon, I guess he joined the rebellion, and these 2 schmucks just stayed on Bakura or something.
Yeah, could be. Maybe Jirit and Shortatha were I don't know, smugglers and got in over their heads.
Maybe they were on their honeymoon.
That could be too.
Well, we can add some progressiveness to our weird backstories.
Yeah.
Assuming Shortatha Baka is a male Wookiee and
It's canon. Too late. We've already said it.
Okay.
It's like Hello from the Magic Tavern.
So, yeah, Garkon's sitting there. He's in the rebel base or wherever our rebels are stationed, and he gets a Wookiee mail. he sees that it's from his brother's address. And he's like, oh, they're sending me updates from their Wookiee moon or whatever they do. And that's why they're off Kashyyyk on Bakura, because Bakura's more accepting of this kind of stuff. Kashyyyk is still a little bit old-fashioned when it comes to these things.
Yes.
And it's actually a message from Chitaka Bappa, and it's, saying, it's like actually like a live message. There's blaster fire in the background, and he's like, Jirid is dead. You need to come help me. Here's my coordinates. And then the camera falls to the ground, and you see stormtroopers like taking him off. And then, presumably, whether Garkon succeeds at that, it depends on your how you play the campaign. But I guess we can assume he saves them, and they have a nice little funeral where they dump his ashes into the seas of Bakura.
I like this. This is excellent storytelling.
And they stay in touch.
Well,
so that
surely...
was mostly his brother and his brother's husband's backstory. Garkon I guess he's just left and joined the rebellion, and that's all he did.
So we just treated Garkon the same way that his brother and Hank were talking about that treated him.
Yep.
Wow.
Kind of the side character of their life.
Oh, poor Garkon. Well, you know what? I can't wait for the next novel to come out from Chuck Wendig, starring Garkon. All right. Let's get on to Gideon Argus, who is a human male. He has the subtitle of Valiant Commander, not Vomander, as it says in the show notes. And his mission takes place in the wilderness of the planet Talus.
Talus. Huh?
I'm not familiar with Talus. We're gonna have to look
computer, show me Talus.
Computer.
Talus was one of the twin worlds located in the Carillion system that orbited Center Point Station. So it's in the Carillion system.
Oh. All right, then.
In any case, I think his mission is he's just trying to rescue some old war buddies or something.
Yeah, because
I feel like we might not even need to dive into this mission so much for his backstory unless we want to give him some... He is an older gentleman. Mm-hmm. Maybe he participated in the Clone Wars as like maybe he was part of a Carillion or some other planet's local militia. So not part of the Grand Army of the Republic, but like a Republic member system had its own private or personal army. He was a commander in that, maybe.
And it's worth mentioning that he was a founder of a special forces group.
Oh yeah, Saber team. They all had one saber that they shared between them.
That's right. It's your turn to use the saber. We'll just stay back here with our guns.
I feel like maybe he's founded this Saber team in the rebellion after he joined the rebellion. I'd like to think that he was one of the first people on the ground floor in the rebellion. Or maybe he had his own rebel cell that eventually, got sucked into the Rebel Alliance like they all did. Like he would have been at the table on Yavin, like yelling about the Death Star with Jyn and Mon Mothma if he wasn't, busy doing something else.
And he's certainly the type that would have been with General Radis. He probably would have liked Radis a lot.
Yeah, maybe him and Radis are best friends. Maybe he was on Radis' ship, like giving orders, hey, start the engines. I got a hunch we're going to be leaving soon.
Could easily be.
Which also means that he dies, so that doesn't work in our campaign. Since the campaign takes place after A New Hope,
yeah,
he would have had to get off.
Well, we have not yet seen much of anything canonically about what the Corellians were doing. I mean, hopefully soon we'll get some idea of what the Corellians were doing with the Solo film. But in Legends, they've always seemed to be like, we do our own thing, whether it's Imperials or Galactic Alliance or anything like that. They've always been, taking care of their own business and their own system, regardless of what the larger governing body had to say.
Do we want to say he's from the Corellian system? Or because the mission takes him to Talos, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's from there.
True. I don't know. It's kind of open-ended. I don't think we're given any sort of idea.
I feel like he would need to be on a planet that would be not super important, but also big enough to be bothered by the Empire. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Lothal or Gorel, but not those places. So I'm picturing him being in almost like a Hera type position where he's leading a small rebel cell. Maybe he calls his, instead of, the Spectres, they're the Sabers. And then later they meet up with everybody. It's just a matter of...
I like this one.
Maybe his whole Saber team gets killed, or so he thinks. And then later in this mission of Friends of Old, he realizes they weren't all dead.
Now I want to know where the heck he comes from. Jeez. I don't know. This is a good story. I don't know how to... I like this. And that is canon, isn't it?
And Terrace was one of the planets aligned with the Rebellion in Rogue One. Maybe he was just like a private security contractor before all of this started, and he realizes that he couldn't just stand by and... like maybe as a young man, he was like a mercenary or a bodyguard or something, and then he decided that he needed to take a stand after the things he saw the Empire was doing.
Maybe I'll spend the rest of the night writing fanfic. But not until we talk about the rest of our heroes.
Yeah. I feel like we haven't figured him out yet. Maybe we'll have to come back to him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I do like to say he's from Terrace. That seems like a good starting point.
Mm-hmm. And it's weird because he is, like, just in terms of his mechanics, he is not like a big blasty character. He's a buffing character. He gives everybody else, like, extra actions or focus?
He can, like, move them around, buff them, things like that. I think he has some, like, healing mechanics, sort of, later on if you level him up enough. He's definitely a leader.
Yeah, and yet we're having the hardest time coming up with sticking with one solid story for him. I think that's interesting. And the next one is Jin.
Okay, I got it. Here we go. Gideon's from Taurus. He was working with, I don't remember her name, the lady from Taurus in Rogue One. She's just in the little meeting where they're all shouting. But not at that point. He was with her for a while, and then as the people from Taurus were not being as active as he wanted to be in the rebellion, he left them to just go join up with the Rebel Alliance, and that's where he met our other characters. And they put him in a position of leadership because he was good at that, and he had a nice beard. How's that?
I like it. Keep it. Add that to the Wikipedia entry. They'll have to add a new tab in Wikipedia. They got canon, they got legends, they got JodoCast. And as we said, the next character is Jin Odan.
Oh, Dan.
Oh, Dan. So, Jin O. Not Jin Urso. And she is a human female. Her subtitle is Sly Smuggler. So we finally have our Han Solo-esque type character here.
So, as far as characters go, I love the art design for her, but I hate playing against her as an Imperial player.
And why is that?
She's too good. She just one-shots everything before you get to do anything. But
because she gets to shoot first, essentially, right?
Yeah, pretty much. As smugglers tend to do.
Yes, they do. Well, geez, isn't the IA miniature for Greedo, he always shoots second, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you put Jin versus Greedo, is he even gonna get a chance to do anything?
Depends. I mean, when Greedo's good, you just got to know how to position him. Got to position him in ways where they can't see him.
Oh, okay. He does a lot of damage, though, doesn't he? If he actually gets his shot off? Or not really?
Yes. Yeah, he hits pretty hard. Well, her mission is called High Moon. It's essentially a Western shootout where she's in like a little dusty town and she calls out some former associate and they have a little duel in the streets. A Trandoshan named Cesark on Rayamal 22. And I looked up Rayamal 22. There's no entry for it. Rayamal has an entry, which is a gas giant. So I'm assuming Rayamal 22 must be a moon of this gas giant.
It's a lot of moons. Could it be an asteroid, you think? If there's like an asteroid belt around it? Like a bigger one that smugglers would hide out on?
I mean, that could be. The mission was definitely trying to have a very Western vibe. So how does she get to this point in her life where she's here to gun down her old associate? I mean, he must have scorned her. Since she's our hero, it totally wasn't her fault, right?
Of course not. Well, I mean, it clearly says that Cesark makes his living selling out rebels to the Empire.
Oh.
So whether or not she's huge into being a rebel at this point, or if she's a reluctant rebel, as many smugglers seem to be, she at least has a bone to pick and maybe some moral qualms about...
I can see her being, sucked into the rebellion, but more willingly than most characters of her ilk that we're used to. I feel like she's a nice person like that. And that's when she finds out her old friend is selling out rebels and has got to go hunt them down. But, she has to have a ship, right? What ship does she have?
Ooh. Maybe it's called the High Moon. Although
and it's a Jumpmaster 2000 because it's crescent shaped.
I like this. This is a good idea. Although her reward is Peacemaker, I'm going to assume that's her weapon, special weapon of hers, yeah?
I think it was just an ability that made her even more powerful.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't know, maybe that's
in her artwork, she's rocking a DL-44. I feel like she would have a YT model, right?
But would it be a 13 or a 24?
I'm thinking 24.
Yeah.
Okay, well, she's got a YT 2400 with some orange accents to match her jacket.
I like that. Yeah, she does have that kick-ass orange jacket going on.
Maybe her and Zark were in the middle of a mission to deliver some stuff. They got caught in between the rebels and the Empire. The Empire was doing something not so great, like shooting workers for not working hard enough or something. The rebels were trying to stop it. Jin couldn't let herself just turn in the goods and get on with her day. Zark, that's what he wanted to do, so they separated there, and she helped the rebels, and that basically stuck her in the rebellion. And then Zark left and he was kind of bitter, so he realized there was money to be had in working with the Empire, selling out rebels.
Yeah. I approve this message.
Okay. So then later she finds out that he's been doing this, and she can't abide that, because for whatever reason, smugglers tend to gravitate toward the rebellion, so her friends have been getting picked off by Intel because of Zark.
So, really quick on Rayamal 22. If we're going to say this is... If the mission is designed to be like an Old West showdown, quick draw showdown type thing, is this like a mining camp that maybe got converted into a smuggler's pit stop, but it's got the whole like big long road down the middle, and buildings
sure.
built into the side.
Yeah,
Excellent.
that sounds about right. I think
you'd
in the
like that.
mission, Zark is in like the saloon, and you're like, "Get out here!" and he comes out.
Perfect.
And then if you're playing in my campaign, Jin, before Zark even gets to do anything, uses her abilities to just nuke him, and he's dead, and the mission's over. So if we base my campaign in our story, she goes there, she calls him out. He's like, "All right, I'm coming out," and he's this big Trandoshan. He looks really scary. He like just flinches, and she pulls out her gun, shoots him, and then it's like a cartoon where there's just two smoking boots standing there. And then she goes home. Ugh, I hate playing against her. She's getting more traction in skirmish these days, which is interesting. But
From tales told, I'm surprised she wasn't getting more sooner.
she was a bit under or overcosted for the amount of health she had. She can die pretty quick. But who we got next?
We got Mac
think it's
Eshkare. Mac Eshkare, who's going to be a little harder to work on since he is a Bothan male.
An undefined species male?
Yes, undefined, parentheses, undefined species, male. Subtitle is Bold Renegade, who does not carve a Z with his blade. So the Bothans obviously are a thing since they were mentioned, but we still don't know if they are necessarily dog-faced people as they are in Legends or not.
Right. Actually, yeah. There's a big Twitter convo with the story group people. Essentially, they'll just cross that road when they get to it. So for now, they don't have a look. I wonder if Wikipedia knows that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Both, and I want to see if there's any pictures on the canon page. There's not.
Yeah, at least they know what they're doing over there.
I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't assume that Mac isn't a Bothan because he is. It's just going to get weird if it turns out Bothans don't look like that. You can say he's a Bothan.
From Bothan, Alabama. His mission...
Okay, so now Mac has a Alabama accent.
Don't all Bothans have a southern accent?
I mean, we don't know. Have there been any Bothans with speaking roles in video games?
Boy, now I want to go back and see if there are any Bothans in SWTOR. I think it was mostly cat people back in the Old Republic days, and then it became all dog people in the latter-day Republic days. Because we don't see any Cathar in the prequels and forward. I don't think we see any Bothans in Old Republic, so maybe they're actually all one species.
Just fuzzy folk.
Yeah, that's what they call them, the fuzzy folk.
Oh, Mac comes from Space Alabama.
But his mission takes place on Ord Mantell at an Imperial facility.
And I believe in this facility, Mac hijacks an ATST, a la Chewbacca.
A la, apparently, BB-8.
Yeah.
Because he can do that.
Well, apparently Mac previously failed this mission, so that means our backstory has to involve the first time he did this mission and failed. Because he's just trying to sabotage this facility on Ord Mantell?
I guess.
With his, presumably, rebel cohorts? His co-workers?
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like this mission didn't go well and it stuck with him, so I am willing to bet he lost his whole team on that one.
Sure did there. I can't do a southern accent.
Don't even try. Not that I could, without people telling we don't sound like that.
Now y'all better get out of there before that ATSD opens fire, you hear?
Oh gosh, just like when Fargo, the movie, came out up north, and people were like, "Yeah, we don't sound like that," And I was like, "Yeah, you do."
Maybe our next character
can
could sound like that.
Oh, I think he will. Okay, so apparently Mac just wanted to sabotage the Imperial facility on Ord Mantell. The mission card doesn't necessarily say what the facility is for, if it's just a munitions plant or...
I think it might have been, like, toiletries.
Could be.
I mean, the Imperial, like, war machine needs its shampoo from somewhere, right?
Good point.
Why not this place? And Mac, being a species covered in hair, knows the importance and maybe overvalues the importance of shampoo.
Right? Commissioner.
Yes. And he's
Yes.
like, we got to hit this shampoo factory. This will really put a crimp in their effort. And everyone's like, maybe we hit like the ammo depot. He's like, nah, trust me.
Nah, man. we gotta hit
He's
that
got
shampoo
like a-
factory.
He's got a blade of wheat stuck in his mouth.
Oh, man. Because he thinks that everyone cares as much about hair hygiene as much as he does. They
And like
ain't never gonna
Garcon's
fix
like,
that
you know what?
stuff.
I think he's got a point.
And they take a vote. And of course, Gideon's got his gigantic beard, so he's all for it.
It's like, you know.
Jin's got long hair. She agrees. So it's just old Fen.
Well, they
And,
didn't. This might have been
Dahlia.
before they knew each other, I suppose, because
Oh,
we're
okay.
assuming they all died on this mission. It's
Good
kind of
point.
like almost like a Rogue One type thing, where the leadership is like, "No," and then he's like in secret, like, "All right, I need a team. We're gonna do this." And there's like 5 guys, and they're like, "We're with you," and then they
Till the
get
end.
killed. And then they're like, "Did you just get 5 people killed trying to destroy a shampoo factory?" It's like, you know, yeah. And that's why it was haunting him. People died, and he failed to destroy their shampoo, so he knows they're still out there with, you know, well-kept hair. And
So
that's
wait,
why he has to go back. Less so because people died, and more because he failed to crimp their style.
So his team was like passing a bottle of shampoo to each other as Darth Vader was coming along, like just killing them all. Like, take it,
Trying to get the
take
secret
it.
formula.
Yep. Great.
Oh, that's his backstory. It's about, you know, as serious as everybody else's.
Wow. Well, you know what? We don't know what a Bothan is, so it serves him right for having the most ridiculous backstory.
Then we come to the villain of the core set, General Weiss. Actually, since his last name is Weiss, I think he should have a German accent.
Yeah,
General
of course he
Weiss.
does. I mean, his name is essentially white, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's
Genau.
part of, you know, there you go.
I guess.
Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Just the
No?
human
You don't
in. I mean, I guess he's a white guy, so sure. But
He sure is.
I don't know if
Super pale.
if he's into that whole racial thing. He's just kind of into
I
the
mean,
Empire
he's in the
thing.
Empire. Yeah.
I mean, the Empire's not pro-white. They're just kind of pro-human.
Okay, good point.
Pro themselves.
Pro me. The me's all just happen to look very similar.
We know that Weiss is in charge of like a secret weapons program, which I guess we can assume is related to his ridiculously decked out ATST.
That looks like a Metal Gear.
Yeah. Yeah, look at my
Maybe
ATST.
that's it. Maybe it's a nuclear armed ATST with a railgun and missiles. That's my story for Wise. He is the big boss of Star Wars.
Yeah, they give me a very low budget, but I look at Krennic and Tarkin with their Death Star. What does it do? It goes bloom. It blows up. I make something more practical. We're making the
What
ATST
about
with the extra gun. I
Yeah.
give it like 3 extra guns, so to shoot 3 extra people.
So in the lead up to New Hope, there was Krennic and his Death Star. There was Thrawn and the TIE Defenders. And no one really talked about General Weiss and his super deluxe Uber The Uber
Not o-
STT.
I mean, not only do we have the extra big gun on the right side and on the left side, on the inside we actually have this nice Bansa leather seats to comfort your tush.
Rich Corellian leather.
I mean, I care about the pilots, you know. They spend all day in the hot cabs. They need the good air conditioning. I'm thinking about the little guy.
But I don't think he installed any good cup holders because you have to concentrate on the driving.
Oh,
You have no time for drinking.
no, this is not the relaxation. This is... You focus.
Focus is an important thing in this game.
Um,
So wait, is that really what his super secret weapon project is?
I honestly don't remember. I'm pretty sure
Okay.
this
'Cause I
the
couldn't
campaign
find
of the
it.
core set, the overarching story is them sort of trying to stop Weiss. But I'm assuming, I think he might just be in charge of like a special weapons division, but we're going to assume that it is literally just an ATST with a few extra doodads on it.
Excellent. It's like not even that great.
It's got a big, it looks
But
like it's got a big minigun on the side and some missile launchers, maybe some, it's got a thing that shoots out dinner plates.
Yeah, it dries them and then shoots them out. You put them in there when they're wet. It seriously looks like someone was like, hey, we need you to design this thing, and they just got done playing Metal Gear Solid 1 on PS1, and like, I got a great idea. Maybe Weiss even fights his twin brother on top of the ATST. It's a very narrow space.
I'm trying to figure out if
this both go flying.
there could be a way with only the two legs that it could like lock itself into an immobile position to like have more stability for shooting a really heavy cannon, like a turret. But with only two legs, it doesn't seem that doable. Unless it like went to its knees, then it wouldn't have as good of vantage point.
Well, the Imperial Assault ATSTs are kind of crouched, aren't they?
Yeah. We're still working on
Maybe
that
that's
particular
the
design
thing.
flaw. When we fire the big boomer, as I like to call it, it's actually the X2733 mega laser, but I call it the big boomer. When we shoot it, the whole thing falls over. It's actually quite funny, but we're trying to work out the problem with this.
I don't know. Maybe that was itself the super secret project, was trying to make walker legs not quite so crappy.
I mean, you look at the guys with the AT-80s, there's good thick legs, and over here in the AT-ST, AT-DP division, the little spindly legs, it's not so good for not tripping. If you look at the stats, they won't tell you this. The Empire, they don't like to tell you this, but 76% of all AT-ST fatalities are from tripping. And you know why they don't fix
Just
it?
user error.
It's just cheaper not to fix it. They could fix it, but it would cost too much money.
It's because all those funds got diverted to Krennic and Thrawn. I'm telling you.
So Weiss is
All
just,
right.
he believes in the cause, but he's also working on his weapons, and he's trying to improve the safety of the Imperial vehicles for his people. They don't even have seatbelts.
He got put in charge of the safety division.
I've been campaigning for
glamorous.
decades. Why don't we just get some railings? Why do we not have railings?
We would lose far fewer troopers if we had the railings. I mean, how many times do you think stormtroopers like walking along on the platform and just like, oh, Jimmy, that was a good one, and just like push him off? Ah! Oh, man.
All right, rebels, we're on a super secret mission. We're just going to grease up the catwalks. So many people are just going to fall to their death.
How did we never see like Aladdin Ezra just take like a ball of marbles and throw them on a thing? That had to have been a thing that happened. Oh, Aladdin Ezra, how we miss thee.
I think we've got some pretty solid backstories for these characters for people to do with what they want.
Absolutely.
I think, edit this out if I'm wrong, we're planning on maybe making some role-playing game character sheets for each of these characters if you want to use them as a resource for an NPC, or if you want to actually play as these characters, and then you'll have their backstory and all their stats pre-made for you. We were thinking about slapping these guys into character sheets.
Yeah, absolutely. I spend my day just making characters in RPGs anyways, so might as well be productive with it.
Yeah, and we'll put them up on our website somewhere once they're available.
Yep. I think that'll be pretty cool. And like Joe said, they're great for either just pre-made characters, because they all fit the careers pretty well from all the different ones. You got obviously the Haunted Exile. I mean, isn't there an Exile sub spec just in Edge of the Empire alone?
I'm not sure. I'd ignore all the Force stuff in Edge of the Empire.
Yeah. Hardened Veteran, that's just going to be your soldier. Wookiee Warrior could be...
I mean, that could be a number of different things.
Mercenary?
I mean, it could be like a bounty hunter or a...
Marauder? Yeah.
Bodyguard, is that one of them?
Yeah.
Sounds like a bodyguard thing.
Spec.
But
Valiant Commander. Get out your Age of Rebellion book for Gideon. Jin is everything from Edge of the Empire. Mac.
Probably something
Mac
out of
in
Age
the game.
of Rebellion.
Yeah.
He's a sniper.
He is specifically a sniper, isn't he? Yeah, so there you go. Like a scout sniper guy. Boom. Done.
And I guess if we feel like it, we'll do Weiss as well. We'd have to make stats for his vehicle, because he's kind of inseparable from his vehicle.
Oh. And I think he would definitely be a Nemesis level bad
sure.
guy. Yeah.
You could, if you so wanted,
like
get 6 players to play these characters and then run the Imperial Assault campaign in the Edge of the Empire system. Just...
Oh, I'm liking this. I'm really liking this.
But you have to make sure whoever plays Mac uses a southern accent.
It's required.
I mean...
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Yeah?
Check the website when you listen to this. If they're not up yet, they will probably be up eventually. And just stay tuned to our social channels to find out when they get posted.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this now. I will probably spend all of tomorrow just working on these guys. This sounds like
awesome.
Too much fun. And adapting the missions in the campaign book to for use with the RPG.
That sounds awesome, especially if you want to do all the legwork on that.
All of it?
I mean,
Great.
if you're cool with it. I only have the Edge of the Empire core book.
Oh yeah. I've got all 3. I will definitely be
If you need
figuring out.
Hit me up if you're like, what should this person's obligation be, or what should their agility be? I'll give you input, but
yeah.
If you want to do all the heavy lifting,
I'm gonna have to re-listen to this episode just so I can take notes on what we said for everybody.
I'm gonna have to re-listen to it to put out the little summary videos on YouTube.
Oh, do we want to mention that?
Sure. I mean, if we say it, then it's more likely that I'll do it. I plan on... I mean, if you listen to this, there's less of a reason for you to need to watch these videos, but I intend to make a video for each of these characters just summarizing the stories that we settled on. So maybe a 5-minute video for each character, giving our backstory for them.
And have some relevant art imagery.
Yeah. Of course.
Floating across the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that, and we just got done talking about it, so this is really cool.
Well,
and I hope everyone else thought this was cool.
I was about to say that. I hope everybody listening liked this as much as we did, because I like the role-playing game, and I like Imperial Assault. Even if you don't care about the role-playing game, I think this is just still neat to have as fans of Imperial Assault. This doesn't necessarily have to be a resource for the role-playing game. It will be, but it doesn't have to be.
Just makes those Imperial Assault campaigns just that much cooler, I think. Knowing who these guys are and what they're all about, not just, I like that guy, he looks cool.
And so let us
fun.
know if you guys like this, because if you do, we'll keep doing it for the rest of the expansions for Imperial Assault. Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, until 13. 13 more heroes to go? Ish, off the top of my head, I might have missed some. Plus a couple villains.
Yeah. Well, and I was saying earlier today that the Jabba's Realm characters look like some of the most colorful ones.
Oh, yeah. I really like those guys.
Looking forward to getting
I've
to them.
already have ideas for their backstories. I have them
I knew you would.
as PCs in the Edge of the Empire game. Not PCs, NPCs that I'm working on, but they haven't showed up yet, and I don't know if they will, because we're having schedule problems, but... I'm using one of the villains from this game as a villain. He showed up in the first mission. I don't know if anybody noticed, because only one of my players plays Imperial Assault, but I was like, who do I get for a nemesis? Oh, this guy looks cool. He's using Agent Blaze, the ISB guy who's shaking his fist at the world. But
with his... Oh, yeah, he's not the one with the, like, angry tech support headset, right?
He doesn't have a headset,
Is that
but
a
that's
different
his friends have that.
Oh, okay.
He's got a weird
it.
sculpt. He's shaking his fist like a Scooby-Doo villain, and he's got his helmet under his arm. It's not a very good action sculpt.
But we'll give him a good story when it's his turn. Great. Love it. All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this, like we just got done saying. Give us feedback on this. We really do want to hear feedback. We love it all the time, but this one especially, because this was just for fun, something that we wanted to do and not just, hey, here's the news. And I guess, Leo says goodbye since we lost him so early on. And I guess that's it.
We did it.
Yay. We'll catch everybody next time. That was lame, but
That
we're
was the
trying.
sound of me doing a weird tongue click and pointing my fingers at the audience, like finger guns.
Finger
doing kind of a wink at the same
Hashtag
time.
finger guns. There you go. What better way to go?
There's a lot of better ways.